Hey guys, I really don't want to be a cliche and start giving you a long explanation to why I've not been posting on YouTube. Honestly, it's just because I've been trying to work from home and trying to run my home at the same time, and it's been very, very difficult and a bit chaotic. Because I usually start my day in the morning at around 8, or sometimes I wake up earlier and I start cooking at around 5. So it's a bit hectic for me, especially because in between I breastfeed and such stuff. So yeah, but I also had to restructure my content, and I was just wondering, like, okay, I want to be able to give valuable content and not just talk for the sake of talking, and also at the same time be myself, because I know that doing videos is not the easiest thing, but I have decided that I am actually going to try harder and post a lot more, but well thought out content. So, today we're going to talk about breastfeeding. And the reason I chose this was because I had like a mini flashback where I went back to when Amari was born, and I remember it was so hard to breastfeed, and I didn't have milk, and my nipples were sore, and I had already been told that, if you want to make sure that your nipples will not be sore, start using a cream. But other people were like, oh no, don't use a cream, it's not going to do much good for your baby. And others were just like, use breast milk, but I was just not for the idea of breast milk. And I was comparing breastfeeding when Amari was born to now, and all the challenges that I've really experienced from the time he was born to now. And I was just like, wow, it's been a long time. And the journey has been so different in all stages. So when Amari was a newborn, the first thing and the first issue I really had was the fact that I was unable to have, like, I didn't have milk. And so many people are very different. So there are people who have milk before they give birth, and there are people who just have milk after their baby is born, and that was me. And the first few statements that I realized everyone was telling me is that you're not eating enough, you're not taking care of yourself, you must be stressed out. They don't realize that this actually adds on to your stress level, and it's so annoying, because one of the things that people tell you, that, or rather I was told, that really got to me was, one, kwani you don't want to breastfeed your child, why don't you want to breastfeed your child? And I find that such like an ignorant thing to say, because of course I want to breastfeed my child. Of course I want to have milk, but I don't know why it's not happening, and it's my first time. Then the second thing was, why aren't you eating enough? I was already eating enough, but I mean, what else could you possibly do when you're already eating? And I was trying different things. I was told to try njahe, I was told to try uji, I was told to try flax seeds, I tried nursing tea bags, all those things I tried. But it took about 1 week when, of course, I started eating well. And the only thing that really helped me was uji and water. Every other thing just wasn't a necessity to me. I wouldn't say that nursing tea bags were really the things that helped me, but then I tried these cookies out that were really good, and it really helped me, from Tunu Bakeries actually, and it helped me. My friend brought it for me. That also helped. Flax seeds and dill seeds helped. But then I think some of these things is very psychological, guys. Like, if you actually take something and you believe that it's going to help you, I think like there's a chance, like 120% chance it's actually gonna like help. The second thing about breastfeeding, of course, were the sore nipples. Like, my nipples were cracked, my nipples were so sensitive and so painful. I swear to you, I think that from the time you get pregnant to the time you give birth to the time you're breastfeeding, I don't know when your boobs go back to normal. Like, I remember there's a time when I was showering when I was pregnant, and the shower just hit my boobs just a bit, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so painful. Like, how sensitive they were. Like, boobs really change. The other horrible thing that people tell you when you're actually trying to be a breastfeeding mother is, they tell you something like, oh, Kwani, you're scared of breastfeeding because of your boobs are going to sag. And I'm just like, that's literally the last thing on my mind. And someone, especially a non-parent, told me that, and she was like, your boobs are gonna sag. And I was like, honestly, right now you have no idea how frustrating it is not to be able to feed my child, and you're here telling me about how my boobs are gonna sag. Like, priority. Anyways, so yeah, I didn't have milk, painful sore nipples. food I tried. I told you, like, I tried uji, I tried seeds, all those things, and it just seemed to me that breastfeeding was the best thing, was just to hydrate and eat well. Because when I didn't eat well, obviously my supply reduced, but also you have to keep breastfeeding your child so that you actually keep your supply up. But the only other thing was I couldn't really eat much because I was mostly alone with Amari the first 3 months, and I used to think, okay, so I'm going to go and start cooking, then I'm going to breastfeed, then washing dishes. So I just never used to. Sometimes I'd skip dinner because I never wanted to start thinking about washing dishes and all that. I was with my grandma, but sometimes my grandmother would leave. She had her own things to do, so we were just the two of us a lot of the times. And it was so hectic, so I ended up losing weight. But I know another insensitive thing that people tell breastfeeding moms is, oh, how comes you're eating so much, kwani you're telling me you need those many calories? Yes, sis, I do, because while you're breastfeeding you actually lose about 500 calories. Like, I checked the other day when I was trying to convince myself that I can't gain weight from eating a plate of fries and stuff, because when you're staying at home, especially now during corona, like, you eat a lot. So for me, I usually tell myself that I'm breastfeeding, so it's fine. Of course you try and eat healthy, but oh well, that's usually my excuse. And screw anyone who says otherwise, because it's really helped me. So yeah, the other main thing that I really experienced, and I've experienced throughout this whole breastfeeding journey, is this thing called dysphoric milk ejaculation. I don't know if it's dysphoric milk ejaculation reflex or whatever, but it's this like overwhelming surge of negative emotions every time I would breastfeed. And it would just be so bad. Like, I don't know if anyone has ever experienced it, but I would always feel like I was so upset every time Amari would start breastfeeding. Like, I'd feel so, like, let's say we were talking before, like how I'm talking right now, then Amari would come and start breastfeeding, and I'd feel so annoyed and so upset with everything and anyone around me. And I was just told, like, it's hormonal imbalance. Go search it. It's interesting. So never feel guilty if you're going through that where you're breastfeeding and you're just upset. I personally went through those emotions, especially when your babies are newborn and you feel like you're food. Like, you are literally food, and there's so much demand on that, especially when your baby is exclusively breastfeeding. When the baby is crying, everyone is like, come and breastfeed. When you're showering and the baby is crying, toka kuja breastfeed. Everyone just sees you like you're just, your main need or your main purpose at that time is to breastfeed or to feed the baby, which is true, but it's very, very, it can be very overwhelming and very, I don't know if it's sickening is the right word, but for me it just felt so overwhelming, and sometimes I used to get very upset about it. Like, I was like, especially because my baby refused a bottle, and since Amari refused a bottle, it was very frustrating because no one else could take him, no one else could keep him for too long because he refused. So it was very, very challenging. Of course, not to mention the hunger and engorgement. I mean, there was a time I didn't have Amari for, I think, like a day. Like, I wasn't with him, and my boobs would get so engorged and they were so painful, especially when you go back to work. The frustration of people asking you, is it really that painful? I hated that question because at that time my boobs felt like they were literally rocks, like rocks that are just about to gush. Like, I felt like if somebody just came and hugged me, that's it. There would be milk everywhere. And sometimes there was milk everywhere. My clothes would soak because it was, engorgement is just a whole other thing that I cannot even imagine. And then the other thing was hunger. Like, the hunger that comes with breastfeeding is another type of hunger that I have never really known, because 1 minute you're like, you've eaten, and the next thing you're hungry. And that's another way that people really gain weight, and I understand how people gain or lose weight while breastfeeding, because you are breastfeeding a lot. Like, right now with a 1 year old, it's just another thing, especially because he loves breastfeeding and I've been at home. So he just, one sitting, I feel like he literally almost sucks the living daylight out of me when he breastfeeds, even at night. And of course, breastfeeding is also consoling to a baby. It's also a way for you guys to bond. But when my baby was a newborn, I will not lie to you, there was a time that I never felt like breastfeeding was a bonding experience for us. I never felt like, oh wow, I'm so excited, I'm going to breastfeed. Oh wow, I'm so excited. Like I'm feeding my baby. I never really looked at it that way, because that was I didn't want to feel like I was food, like I said. And also the overwhelming surge of negative emotions were too many and too much. So but the pros are, when he's really upset, it has cooled him, it has calmed him down, it has done things that no one else was able to do at a time when I was there, and I probably couldn't soothe him by just holding him. But breastfeeding has always done the trick. Let's not even forget the fact that breast milk is so healthy. And I can actually believe the statistics that kids who breastfeed probably get sick a lot less. I don't know, but I've seen it. I'm happy the fact that if I have a cold and I breastfeed, it gives him antibodies and necessary antibodies that he needs. So it's been, good for him, sometimes bad for mommy, kind of thing. And the other thing is that with Amari, especially as I grow older, the biting becomes just crazy, insane, and something else. Like the biting, I remember the first time he bit me, I almost just cried. I was just like, oh my god. And you really have to hold yourself back from literally throwing that child away from or across the room, because that is sudden pain that you never expected. And sometimes he bites and it clings onto it like it's a gummy bear. It's like, and you're just like, what, why? I don't know. But guys, I'm back. I'm going to try to be back. But tell me your breastfeeding experience. How's breastfeeding been for you? I just feel like breastfeeding moms really need a lot more credit for what they do. And the fact that it's not an easy thing. It takes a toll on your body, on your hair. Like my hairline was receding at some point. It takes a toll on your bones. Your bones feel weak, your teeth can start aching, and no one really understands the sacrifice that comes with it, and the emotions and the hormonal imbalances that you can still go through even while you're breastfeeding. Yeah, I plan on stopping when he's like 2 or 1.5, simply because that soothing factor, I don't think I can let go of that. And also the excuse of eating 500 extra calories is also pretty good. Yeah. If you have any queries, if you have anything that you'd like to say or add, please put it in the comment section. And yeah, the next video I want to do will be about Amari's first birthday and just how I planned it out. It was really small and intimate, especially with this COVID-19, but it was very, very emotional for so many reasons. I didn't think we would get to one. I don't know why. It just looked so far. But I am so happy and so grateful to God, and I will talk about that in the next video. For now, bye bye. Peace.